There is allegedly a rock and roll song called "It's a Dirty Job." Somebody's got to do it, and I think that applies to Pedro and me at the moment, because we are in Augusta, mastering the Masters. Neither currently dressed in the green jacket, but that's a matter of time. In my case, some considerable time. But we can't play all weekend because the Clásico is how the Copa del Rey final is going to be played out in the Olympic Stadium down in Seville, which is not a place to be playing football. Look, so rude interruption there from the Georgians. Pete, the calendar, let's start with the league leaders and I think the favourites for the Cup. The calendar with two Clásicos, one on May the 11th, the Clásico in the Cup final this Saturday night, and two semi-final ties against Inter, has a feel of the Mount Everest that faced Guardiola's Barcelona in 2011, where, spoiler, if you're still catching up on pause, they drew the league match, lost the cup final, won the first semi-final, drew the second semi-final, and went through to Wembley, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to argue, Pete, that this, although the calendar looks similar, there isn't the same fever pitch about this, and probably not even the same intensity about the madness surrounding Barcelona's calendar.
Yeah, I think intensities would be the word I would use as well. And obviously the rivals are slightly different. I was speaking to someone about the Italian Cup semi-finals a couple of days back, and him saying to me, well, Inter are on their last leg, so Barca have got by into the final. But the thing is, Barca are starting to look, not last legs.
A little bit jaded.
And also one more injury away from a mini crisis. I think they've missed Casado, because I don't really think there's an alternative now to Pedri and De Jong. Obviously that's fantastic, but then once you lose one of them,
what happens?
Gavi and Eric Garcia don't convince. Baldi's a massive loss, offensively more than anything else. And obviously Lewandowski now missing. So one more, and then you're really starting to, it's going to be a real test for Hansi Flick. So
you're saying that they're kind of limping into this test?
A little bit. Yeah.
As much as Madrid?
Don't you think Madrid have reached that? They've gone down as far as they're going to go now, and the only way is up.
They'll hope you're right, because should they come away with a defeat from the cup final on Saturday night into Sunday morning, no doubt, because it kicks off at 10-hour time, there'll be no question about they bottomed out. It'll be utter, full-blown crisis, finger pointing everywhere and shit throwing everywhere. But you're saying, in football terms, you've seen a slight up curve.
Yeah, the last two games from Vinicius, for example.
Different.
And also I think Ancelotti's reached a point now where I don't think he's going to play the front three.
No.
On Saturday. I think he's reached the conclusion he maybe should have reached earlier, that he can't do that against Barca.
So what's your team? If you're Ancelotti, are you playing a back four, who'd you put it right back?
I think he gambles with Lucas so that he can play Valverde in midfield, and you play your best midfield, which is at the moment is Valverde, Ceballos, Tchouaméni and Bellingham, and Vinicius and Mbappe up front, and it's going to be a long game. And recently Madrid have had nothing from the bench, and I think this time Barca won't have too much from the bench because of the absentees.
Controversial.
So if you've got Rodrigo and Modric to come on, that gives him something if the game does, as we expect, maybe go to extra time.
Just for those who aren't reading between the lines, Pete, you're edging us towards a Madrid win. You can deny it if you want, but that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that far, but I certainly don't think that this is going to be like the previous two games, which have been,
thrashings,
big wins for us.
I think the only difference I've got from Pete is that I think that I've heard words over the recent games from Ancelotti prioritising defending with the back four with Valverde in it because he doesn't trust the defensive equilibrium of the whole team. No, it's just because Valverde in the midfield gives you tackling and running at people and goals from the edge of the box, and it wasn't until he was moved up and with Lucas behind him against Athletic that he scored that wonderful 2 league matches ago. I have a slight feeling that they worry a little bit about the wing power of Barcelona, and therefore probably they use Valverde there, but Lucas has played there a lot. He's positionally unsound, but there's the gap. There's exactly what Pete was saying. And I think for Barcelona, we kind of know the team with one possible argument, but for Koundé, Kubarsi, Inigo Martinez, Gerard Martin probably, although Fort did okay the other day. Midfield two of Pedri and De Jong. Your two wingers are Rafinha and Lamine, up front it's Torres, and then there's an argument about Olmo or Gavi. Which way would you go?
Well, Olmo changed the game against Celta Vigo when he came on. He plays that number 10 position better than anybody probably at the moment in La Liga. So I'd definitely go with him ahead of Gavi. Would you go with that?
Olmo, the Bermuda Triangle of football, whereby he's got this, or he had this shock of white hair. Talked about it before. Every coach from the opposition runs the week saying, don't give him space, don't let him get on the ball. Everybody's marking him. The ball goes one way, everybody follows the ball, almost on his own. Again, how did he get there? How did he get in that space? How did he get between the lines? Bosh. Goal. Is he fully fit? Does Flick start with Gavi to terrorise and aggressively chase Madrid and then bring Olmo into a slightly broken game? I don't know the answer. I think when I've got to predict the 11, I think I'll probably be predicting like you did that Olmo starts. But I think there's an argument over that position. It's a La Cartuja, which is not a place for football. Running track, newly rebuilt or tarted up, difficult to get to, difficult to get away from. And I think we've had one not classical cup final while down there. Contract's running out. Please, Lord, start moving the cup final around the country again, because that's fucking sensational. Hope you're going to be able to watch the Copa del Rey final. I know that for those of you in Britain and Ireland, you can do so on Premier. I think Julio Taus will be the secret winning element for Barcelona, their fitness coach. They are fitter and more durable and will last longer than Madrid. I think they're nervous, Barcelona, because they hate being considered outright favourites, which is what they're being called right now. I think they outlast Madrid, and I think they take one further step towards a possible treble. It would be their third treble. Treble. Mine's a treble, barman. Stay tuned.